Hello, listeners. My name is Cliff Ratza. I'm the author of two ongoing series of novels, the Lightning Brain series and its sequel, the Keeper series. And in addition to being an author and a writing coach, I teach at universities and have a consulting business. If you would like to learn more about me, my books, my writing coach activities, please contact Prime Solutions via the lightningbrainseries.com website. Well, I try to make videos that I think authors and writers, as well as most people, might enjoy listening to. And I want to cover material in a manner that you might not see on the news or in other YouTube or similar videos. I figure that if I can't find a different point of view, there's no reason for me to add something that you can find somewhere else. Well, the title of this video is, May the Metaverse Be With Us. People want progress, not regress. And before I get into the details, I would like to summarize my collection of reasons why the human brain has asymptotic limits to what it will ever understand. In it are principles established by great thinkers, and I've used them I've used this collection in previous podcasts to refute some of the wildly optimistic views held by quantum physicists and cosmologists. AI-empowered quantum computer engineers and prognosticators as well like to hype the near-term science and technology that sometimes belongs in the sci-fi world. So here are my reasons. First, the explosion principle, which, coming from mathematical logic, says that in any argument or conjecture containing an assumption, and somewhere else in it, its negation, anything can be proved. This is important because if you dig into many of the outlandish articles or videos, you'll find the explosion principle lurking somewhere in there. Second, a fact confirmed by neuroscientists and psychologists, the human brain cannot deal with too much complexity or the mathematics of infinity. Infinity can only be reached in set theory using transfinite recursion. And once there, the complexity created by an uncountable number of uncountable infinities overwhelms our cognition. In fact, George Cantor, the mathematician who invented set theory to build all numbers starting from the empty set, spent years at a mental institution because other mathematicians attacked his proofs that infinity exists. Third, the work of Bertrand Russell and Ludwig Wittgenstein that led to Principia Mathematica, which failed to resolve the inconsistencies and paradoxes found in propositional and predicate logic. Why did they fail? Because even when language is restricted to the rational realm, it contains inconsistencies they couldn't explain. And as enigmatically stated by Wittgenstein, for that which I do not understand, I must remain silent. The philosopher-mathematician G.V. Quine tried to eliminate the inconsistencies by excluding their language construction, but that too fails. And finally, logician Kurt Gödel's completeness and incompleteness theorems dashed all hopes of surmounting the problem. His theorems prove that there are some truths in basic algebraic systems that cannot be proved, and there are some logically correct proofs that might be false. But we can put a positive spin on all of this. Even though we have limits to what we'll ever understand, we approach them asymptotically, which means we can always make at least a little progress. And we're usually happy if we can move in that direction. Okay, let's now turn to the metaverse, for which a combination of complex mathematics and computer technology is making lots of progress and probably will continue to do so for a while because its emergence is still so new. And I just read Matthew Ball's just-released book, The Metaverse and How It Will Revolutionize Everything, which seems to accurately describe its foundations. Here's what a reviewer has to say about the Metaverse, and first by Matthew Ball. Over the past 4 years, forward-thinking and youthful Matthew Ball, CEO of investment firm Epelion, and the former global head of strategy for Amazon Studios, has been a leading thinker on the metaverse, the universe of virtual worlds that are all interconnected, like in novels such as Snow Crash and Ready Player One. And today, his book debuts, The Metaverse and How It Will Revolutionize Everything. Here's some of the reviewers' thoughts. As we slouched towards the pandemic, Ball wrote a timely and prophetic piece in early 2019 about Fortnite's, that's a game, a virtual game, about Fortnite's opportunity to become a metaverse. The idea gathered steam at the beginning of COVID-19 as we were all forced into lockdown and had no way to socialize with each other except through games. Boring Zoom calls made us all long for something better. And that took us back to ideas that sci-fi author Neil Stephenson raised with his original Snow Crash book. And it turns out that Bell and many others believe the metaverse is moving from science fiction into reality as it becomes the next internet. In June 2021, he tied a lot of that all together in a 30,000-word piece dubbed Metaverse Primer. That only prompted him to get started on a book where he defines the metaverse, describes its significance, and predicts how it will roll out in the future. He also came up with a way to invest in the metaverse through a project he did with others dubbed the Metaverse ETF. I guess that's exchange-traded formulation, or exchange-traded fund. Ball is an optimist about the metaverse, but he constantly brings up complicated arguments about what could slow it down or speed it up. The need for real-time communication and low-latency technology is just one of the challenges we face. His book puts some meat behind the buzzword. Well, here's my simple scholar definition of the metaverse. The metaverse is a computer, software-based, immersive virtual reality that overlaps with 3D reality, that's sometimes called augmented reality, in which people can interact via sensing devices, such as haptic gloves and goggles, and sensors placed on clothing. We sometimes refer to this as cyberspace. Well, here's Matthew Ball's definition. The metaverse, a massively scaled and interoperable network of real-time rendered 3D virtual worlds that can be experienced synchronously by an effectively unlimited number of users with an individual sense of presence and with continuity of data, such as identity, history, entitlements, objects, communications, and payments. Please use whichever definition you like and adjust it to suit yourself. And his entire book, in succeeding chapters, explains the terms and implications of everything in the author's metaverse definition. And by the way, the sci-fi writer Neil Stephenson coined the term metaverse in his 1992 novel Snow Crash, as did William Gibson for the term cyberspace in his 1984 novel Neuromancer. And as sci-fi writers often do, their dystopian worldview portrays the evils humans can concoct with new technology. But Matt Ball describes a much brighter future, thanks to how today's metaverse is advancing. The 15 chapters in his 300-page book go on to say, we should expect confusion and uncertainty about how the metaverse will unfold. That has always been the case as new technologies disrupt business and life as usual. The metaverse will assist the world as it becomes more and more networked. The metaverse needs vast amounts of computing power, and metaverse developers are among the leaders for developing the devices, such as haptic gloves, virtual reality goggles, and headsets, and software apps on which the metaverse world's engines and platforms are being built. And the metaverse world, because it is a moneymaker for people and companies in it, must have an autonomous and decentralized financial payment system. And that's where blockchain and cyber currency like Bitcoin come into play. The author answers the question, when will the metaverse arrive? It's already here, but it will continue to evolve at a pace that will revolutionize much of our world. Education, business, social interaction, entertainment, jobs, travel and leisure, and lifestyles will all change. And of course there will be winners and losers. There will always be in every economy, but there should be significant net gain. And the author concludes by saying that all the people and companies developing the metaverse, as well as the people who will live in it, are essentially spectators as well as participants, witnessing a brave new world coming into being. I recommend to everyone who wants more details to read the book. You'll like it. And now I'll touch on some topics found in recent news articles or videos that show how signs of the metaverse are already visible. Consider the Ukrainian war. Drones and other advanced weapons that are more powerful than conventional boots on the ground are being controlled remotely in their own virtual cyberspace. And as the world can see, thanks to all the high-tech communication, Putin is the bad guy. The world is turning away from his style to one that is kinder and gentler and more sharing, which the metaverse can enhance. I watched several Future of Everything YouTube videos, and what they pointed to agree with Matt Ball's book. And I came across a YouTube video that explained how mathematicians have a much easier time today working with the Mandelbrot set because of all the AI-empowered software apps that are coming from metaverse developers. By the way, the Mandelbrot set helps futurists understand complexity and chaos theory, and the software apps extend our limits for handling complexity and infinity. Nick Lane's book, The Vital Question, explores the bio and neuroscientific questions surrounding how life evolved. In addition to benefiting from all the AI-empowered computer hardware and software, the book points out that competition and cooperation work together to advance living organisms, just like the combo of competition and cooperation drives the metaverse forward. And two books reviewed in the September 10th and 11th, 2022 Wall Street Journal article titled Natural Connections agree that nature is not necessarily red in tooth and claw at either the individual or social level. The books are titled Sweet in Tooth and Claw by Kristen Owison and The Social Instinct by Nicola Rahani. And another book, this one titled The Sacred Nature by Karen Armstrong, prompted the reviewer to disagree with the author. People do not want to return to a world found only in the dreamy musings of philosopher types when thinking about the noble savage, a hero archetype that never existed. We want to live in a progressive, future world that the metaverse can make even better. I'm sure you can find examples in video games and the special effects of today's movies that illustrate the power of the metaverse. And you can also find examples of the downsides of the metaverse, of what the metaverse might lead to, such as people escaping from reality into the 3D world of cyberspace, fake news, cyberspace and metaverse addiction to online gaming and gambling and binge watching, sex, pornography, and deviant behavior getting out of control, people becoming flabby, mentally as well as physically, robots, cyborgs, and computer androids taking over. The metaverse is not perfect, but smart people are aware more than ever before of its pluses and minuses. And if we continue to be smart and attentive to the details, we can make the metaverse work for us as it revolutionizes our world. So on that upbeat note, I will end this video. Please delve into more details if any of the above catches your fancy. And I thank you for watching and listening. Bye-bye until next time.